Hello, my name is Megan Cias, and my research project is over youth and technology. So, some child research developers believe that the tech driven world that we now live in strips our youth of basic human skills and interactions, such as empathy and communication, while others believe that the tech driven world is setting our youth up for a better future within their future employment and the economy. This documentary is taking a look at the opinions of those that it's affecting, from youth at the early age of 5 years old in pre kindergarten all the way up to those in their mid 20s. We're looking at how technology has advanced over the years and how these individuals feel the technology is affecting them in their everyday lives. To start, I'd like to give a little piece of my insight. So, although in grad school I am working on my graduate program completely 100% online, technology is helping me complete this and get this done all the way from Austin, Texas. I'm attending Eastern New Mexico University in Portales, which is a couple hours away. And so, without technology, this would not be possible. I also have behind me the backdrop to my classroom. I teach English as a second language to students in China. So again, without technology, this would not be possible. Without me having to physically be there in front of my students, I use a computer to interact with them online. So these are just some basic right off the bat ways that technology has affected me. So now let's take a look and see how it affects others.
I basically use all social media, so like Snapchat, Instagram, and Twitter is like the main things that I would use probably. And I think it's just because like in our generation, that's just how we like do things. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's not really, it's more of just like doing things online, not really like meeting each other in person and stuff anymore. Um, and then like also just because like say if you have friends that don't live here or like family that's from out of town, like basically you would use technology for stuff like that. And as for school and stuff, even like before all this, I had a lot of my work was online.
Mm-hmm.
So like last semester, I actually took a math class at the college, so I would do that online, and like my professor, like all his videos were online. So even like before all of this, I was like really into technology. Like that, I think that's just the way my generation is kind of like moving along with things is by
Yeah.
using that. Equal. I feel like there are more pros, but with every pro comes a con. Like
Mm-hmm.
with social media, you can stay connected to people, but then the bad side is like bullying or like you could see other people's like Instagram feed and like get jealous and like sad because your life isn't like theirs. So I feel like it's kind of you have to like give and take with it.
Yeah, totally.
Believe I think I was in like fifth grade when I
Mm-hmm.
got my first phone. But it was just like one of the little like weird phones, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
just so like I could call my parents or like emergencies and stuff. But I would say like the first time I got like a smartphone and like started using like Twitter and Instagram was probably like eighth grade or seventh grade.
Okay.
So like 14, 15, that's kind of when I started. My parents were never like really like weird about it. Like we didn't have like strict rules or stuff like that. Because I
Mm-hmm.
think it is really weird to see like little kids have like brand new iPhones.
Yeah.
Just because that's not the way that I grew up. But
Mm-hmm.
I guess every day the world gets different. So I guess it
Yeah.
would kind of just be up to the parent and what their beliefs are.
And what they're comfortable.
That schools in New Mexico, well, public schools in New Mexico would be closed for 3 weeks. And so basically, that Friday, all of our teachers just told us all of our work for the next 3 weeks would be online. And we do it through a program called like Google Classroom. So for every class that you have, they can assign you different assignments and stuff like that. So for those 3 weeks, that's all we did. And then when it was announced that school was over the rest of the year, that's when teachers started learning how to use like Zoom and stuff like that. So basically, we have our own schedules. So on Monday, it would be all your odd periods, so first, third, fifth, and seventh. And then Tuesdays is 2, 4, and 6. And each class can only be 25 minutes. So it's just a Zoom call, and they just describe like what our assignment for the week is, and then it's up to us to do it on our own time during that week to get it completed. It is really different because you can't really talk to other kids and like discuss the problems. It's just like you're on your own, and if you do it, you do it, and if you don't, you don't. And like it really did affect our grading because now for all of our grades, it's just pass or fail. So we only have 6 assignments the rest of the year. And if you get a 60 or above, you pass, and if you get 50 or below, you fail.
Okay.
And I know that it affected like kids that took AP classes. It affected them a lot because now they don't get that extra GPA added on. So I know that was like a big thing with like ranking and stuff like that. So I feel like if we didn't have technology, like we would basically not know what to do. Like it would be almost impossible to do anything.
My Chantel was Roxy.
Oh, did they love her?
Yeah, he said, "Oh, he's so cute."
How sweet. What did the other kids have for show and tell?
Well, one had a bear that turned into a ladybug. That's so cute. And one was a Easter bunny that Zerlina got for her birthday, and one was 3 dogs. We showed 3 dogs. There's one that was brown, one that was brown and white.
Really?
Because this time is really like all of this is so overwhelming for them. They're like having to navigate 8 different classes and having to do all these different things. And so it's a lot different from going to in class every day to being only online.
Yeah.
And so make it as least overwhelming, but make sure they're staying active and having fun. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now. So with the dance, it's a little easier because I already taught them a hip hop dance. So they were working on dances in groups, like creating their own dance within a group. And so now it's going to be the same thing. They just won't do it in groups. They'll do it individually. So it won't be too bad. I think for a lot of my students, it's actually a little better because they were a little more shy to dance in front of you. And so
Yeah, that's true.
this might be easier for some of them. But for PE, that's where I find the bigger challenge because I am in a Title I school, I'm teaching at a Title I school. So a lot of these kids don't have equipment to play with at home. I can't say, do this basketball lesson or this throwing and catching lesson or, this soccer lesson because this dribbling lesson because not all of my students have, some of them have multiple siblings and they live in a 1-bedroom apartment. So it's hard to say do this when they don't have the equipment for it. And so my biggest challenge is finding something for them to do that'll keep them active and that'll also be fun for them. I work at is a my tech school, so that means that all of our students have Chromebooks, and so they're given a Chromebook at the beginning of the year. So they're kind of already transitioning them into kind of like only in class to kind of that hybrid of online in class. I think that what's going on now is going to make for an even bigger push. Instead of just having a few schools, I think it might be more schools are joining in so that they can get their students prepared and ready because this was, obviously something we never thought was going to happen. And now all of us have to do these things online, all their work online. And so, but like I said before, whereas my 8th graders are a little more ready for it compared to my 6th graders where they're like, oh my God, what do I do? How do I do this? They're still kind of leaning on us a lot more. So I think this might help more schools kind of gear into that more of like hybrid learning.
So how is school working right now? What are you guys working on as far as school assignments
Right
goes?
now, I'm working on science and home ec.
And how do you do that?
By my Chromebook, we go to Apex.
Okay, for most of my classes, we have been going through assignments. We watch videos mainly, and on the instructions, we either have an option to write paragraphs about details in the video and what our experience is through watching it.
Like both ways, because at school I get to have like to talk to my friends and stuff, but at home I get to like focus better without like distractions and stuff.
For work, like homework and school-wise, I'd rather do it at home because I get to go at my own pace and I can go ahead if I wanted to. But for socially, I would go back to school just to see like my friends and my social life.
Hi, my name is Kenneth Williams. I currently work for Google in intern programs. I staff software and site reliability interns across North America. Especially my field, it affects it a lot. Anyone who really has a dream of working at Google, especially in the tech side of things, needs to be able to have access to technology so they can learn some of these programming languages. One thing that's good about my program is that we're bumping up exposure to our internship programs with kids that are coming from underdeveloped areas that might not have access to that technology, because we know how hard it is for someone who is in a background maybe in South America or out of the country or from underdeveloped areas that maybe didn't go to school at Harvard or Stanford or UCLA, giving them access to these programs even though they don't have that full-on access to technology throughout their college or collegiate career. So definitely should begin in early development. I mean, that's when really a lot of crucial habits are even born and created, and structure is created when you're at those early ages. And I think there should be regulation on the technology, because I think we're not at a state yet in our society where we know the long-term effects of having all this access to technology and being in front of screens. I mean, think about it, you're in a screen 8 hours a day at your workplace, and then you go home and you get on your personal screen. We don't yet know the long-term effects down the road of what that's going to do to our mental health, our emotional health, and anything else that might fall in between. So we had one computer. I mean, even back when dial-up was a thing, there wasn't a lot of work you got brought home with you from school, especially in elementary and early middle school, that you needed computer access to. It was all pen and paper. The most technology you needed was a simple calculator. Other than that, you didn't really need anything, and teachers kind of kept track of things manually. When it got towards, I think, maybe upper middle school and high school, there was a deep implementation of technology, smart boards in the classroom, loaner laptops that we used in class to maybe raise our hand or answer questions in the classroom rather than raising our hand orally. And there was a lot more take-home homework that you needed to go on to sites and interfaces like Canvas and Blackboard to kind of complete, so that the teacher can keep track of grades and metrics, and you can track your own metrics online through using the use of technology. So because no one ever talks about their failures or their problems or things that aren't ideal, on social media. Sometimes I think it's so glamorized, where you see all the positive things and you I think get out of touch with reality with that. I'm not saying that it's not good. I mean, I definitely use social media every day to stay up to date on information and share creative ideas or thoughts or get inspiration. But I think there definitely needs to be a certain limit to that, of course, so that you can kind of just stay grounded and in reality. So.